Something that usually stop a lot of people from writing a book is they don't really believe that they're an author, right? They want to write a book, but they say, "Well, I want to write a book," but they don't believe that they're an author. See, because you have to ask yourself this. Let's think of this one simple question: what came first, the book or the author? And it's pretty obvious. The book came after the author, so the author came first, right? So, in other words, authors write books. People think because they like to write, they're an author. Until you believe that you're an author, then you will start writing books. If you don't believe that you're an author, then you will not write a book because you'll just write. And authors write books. Writers just write. So you can be a writer. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, right? However, if you plan on writing a book, you need to start looking at yourself as an author. Something that I did when I came out with my first book, before I came out with my first book, one thing that I did to help me think of myself as an author, I actually got a notebook. And one thing that you do when you're an author, you sign the books that you have, right? Some purchase a book, you sign the book that they have, that they purchase from you. So I got good, and every night I would take a sheet of paper and just sign my name on it 20, 25 times, right? Because that's what authors do. They sign their names in books. I had to start looking at myself more like an author because for years I kept saying I was going to write a book and never did so. It's people that have been saying for 10, 15, 20 years they're going to write a book and never do. However, that was something that helped me become and look at myself as an author. I had to start calling myself an author, not a person that just wanted to write a book, not a person that just thought about it would be a good idea to write a book. I started looking at myself as an author and started doing things that authors do. I started taking time to write, and when I wrote, I was writing for my book. Why? Because I am an author, and that's what authors do. Well, if you want to do that, you have to do the same thing. You have to look at yourself beyond just being a writer. Yes, it does take writing to write a book, but authors write books. Writers just write. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with writing, but there's always something wrong with it if that's all you look at yourself as and not write a book. So you can write a book, but you need to look at yourself first as an author. Secondly, you need to do as many things as possible. You might need to put some type of notes up in the bathroom, in your car, in your wallet to remind you that I am an author. And see, and once you do that, you need to start looking at books that you pick up and reading. You need to start visualizing, thinking that your name is going to be at the top, bottom. How are you going to have your cover when you do your book? Are you going to have your name at the bottom? Or are you going to have it at the top? You're going to use your middle initial? You're going to use your first initial, middle initial, and last name? You need to start looking at it that way because that's what authors like you do. And that's going to put you more into that fact that, or more into the place that I'm an author, I need to write a book. Once you come up with that, then it's a little bit more simpler for you to actually find a title to your book, outline the book, get past some writing block issues, and then it's easier for you to get past some of those things later on in the future. So I believe that you're an author, but just because I believe you're an author, that doesn't mean you're going to write a book, right? Until you believe that you're an author is when you're going to put yourself in the best position possible to write the book that's in you. Personally speaking, I think that every person have at least 3 books in them. However, that doesn't mean that every person will write 3 books.